Hello, and welcome to Rallying the Forge. I'm your host, Sol. Hello, this is Solmer, and welcome to Rallying the Forge. This is a special edition, as we just had some Set 4 spoilers drop for us, sort of. So we have the monthly league going on right now. It's a random deck league. I'll pull that page up here as we are in the season. If it wants to go. There we go. All right. So we have the Winter Sol-stice random league, deck league going on, and we have a bunch of people playing in it. Looks like 34. And with that, a lot of the SBE employees, maybe not all, but a lot it seems like, are playing, and some of them have access to Set 4 decks, as they are testing, of course. So, let me switch screens again. On stream today, Lucas was playing Traveler, who is Peter, and they were playing each other in one of their matches. I jumped in a little late to the stream. I didn't see the notifications. I was at work, and then when I checked my phone, I saw that he was streaming, and I knew that he might have access to some Set 4 decks. So I hopped on, and sure enough, he had one going. After they played their matches, he was kind enough to bring it back up on the screen for us and show us the cards, so we can kind of get a little bit of a preview of some Set 4 cards coming. So hopefully you guys can see this well enough. It is a screen recording from my phone, and then I've got, of course, the video here. So hopefully it comes through clear enough, but I'm going to read off everything on the cards. So if it's kind of blurry at all, I apologize. Anyway, so he had a Tempest half deck. He had it paired with, I'm not even sure, it might have been an Aloyan half, but it was not. This was the only Set 4 deck that he had at the time. So he's got more on his account, don't get me wrong. He was scrolling trying to find this one, but so he has, it's a Korok Forgeborn, of course, and the level 2, 3, and 4 abilities are as follows. So you have Thunderbolt at level 2. One of your creatures blasts for 5. So if you played in the Scorchworm campaign or play it now, the opponent's creatures, some of the whelps or whatnot, have blast. And what it does is it does whatever the blast amount is, in this case 5, it does that much damage to a creature across from it, or if there's no creature, to the player. I can't recall if it kind of has a breakthrough where it just does X amount to the creature and then excess goes to the player or not. I can't recall that offhand, but nonetheless, a pretty good ability that we're expecting to see on cards in the set. Then at level 3, you have the Meteor Smash. One of your creatures gets +5 attack, deal 5 damage to an enemy creature. It's really nice card there. You might be able to clear out a lane, give somebody +5. You can use that when you're off Forge and have the last action to get some damage through it potentially, or if you've got a stealth creature, pump them up, also remove a threat, potentially blocking someone else or however, but really nice ability there. And then level 4 is Korok's Swarm. Play up to 2 Spell Swarm minions, switch each of their attack and health. So normally a Spell Swarm comes out, it's a 3/9 and gets +3 attack per spell that you play afterwards. In this case, they're going to come out as 9/3s with that same card text. So it's a much more aggressive, which I like, take on the, I don't remember what the original ability in the earlier sets was called, where you just get to summon, 2 spell sprites or spell swarm minions or whatnot. It always, if you get on cycle 4, it's like, I got to build this thing up. It's not coming out as a big creature. These change that. Granted, they don't have a lot of health, so they are susceptible to removal. But definitely could, again, help you remove things, potentially put pressure on the opponent, change what they're going to do. I like these abilities. I like the setup here. I'd be curious to see what the other levels end up being when they go through. So I'm going to play the video. I'll pause it as new cards pop up here and talk about each card. So bear with me on that. Very exciting. Okay. So I'll pause here. Then we have the Iselin Northwind. I guess that's like Iselin, maybe, is how it's supposed to be pronounced. I'm not positive on that. I'm horrible with that. You can see its stats 3-5, 5-8, 8-12 as it goes up in level. It's a warrior, mobility 1, 2, and 3, which I really, really like that it increases. Really helps the creature gain some extra value in the later rounds. Granted, its stats are not great, but what it does could be. When this moves, give an adjacent creature +3. So it moves and then it procs. It goes to the batch, and you'll give it a creature adjacent to it at that time. The plus attack. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of movement mobility mechanics. At least up to this point, they're really hard to get to work really well. One of my first decks, probably my first deck I opened, had a Palladium Simulacrum in it, and I thought the card would be amazing. And once in a great while, it has been. But really hard to get to work and use and just make it so it's a really big threat on the board. So these types of cards here might be helping, help push mobility back into the forefront for competitive deck archetypes potentially. But that's definitely a nice ability. You move them around with the extra mobility. They can, they don't necessarily get locked in when you put creatures adjacent to them. They can hop over things now. So really like the potential with that card. The next card here, Pyrax the Flamebound. 3-6, 5-8, 14, 17. This card right here is going to be amazing. Definitely going to make decks mandatory have hard removal options, in my opinion, which is maybe the price we pay to take care of life gain decks, as you'll see. So when an enemy player gains health, deal that much damage to them. Level 2 deals double that damage, and level 3 is triple that much damage. So that card alone will cripple life gain decks. There are going to be many cards that went from really great value to, if he's on the board, you can't play that card. That can be crippling. Hard removal. It's got great stats at level 3, in my opinion. The level 2 is not bad. Would like to see more health on it, but it's probably where it needs to be. But it's going to be very interesting to see how this type of card plays out. What other combinations, what other cards are going to be in the set to play with it. But that card alone will be good in any deck, no matter what you're playing, whether it's Betrayer, no matter what. This card will not be bad to have in your toolbox, so to speak. So really, really love that card. Oh, so he scrolled. I'm going to try and catch it here, as I'm not able to control the scroll on the deck. Did I miss it? His mouse is moving. I think the video restarted initially, but I'm not positive here. So the next card, I'm going to try and get it here. If we don't scroll too much, try and get 2 cards on one screen. Okay, so got it. Reliable Snowman. It's a Yeti, blank Yeti, no abilities on it, but it's a 210, 414, and 819. So good health on it. It's reliable. I don't know if that's a Forge modifier, a new one, or if that's the actual just name of the card, and it's it's always gonna be that. I don't know. Obviously, it doesn't have an image yet, so I'm really curious what that is gonna look like. The picture, that'll be awesome. The next card below it, Voltaris Tempest Caller. It's a 2/5, 4, 8, and 7, 9. Really low stats, but it's probably because of its abilities. It's an elemental. It's a defender. When you play a spell, play up to one spell sprite minion. It gets +2 attack. That's level 1. Level 2 is the same, and level 3 is play up to one spell swarm minion. It gets +3. So you play a spell, you basically get the back pay on the minion that you're playing from it. So it's interesting. It's yeah, I don't mind it. I think it's pretty decent defender, so it's gonna be harder to get rid of. If they play it on Forge, then play a spell, they get the minion plus the boost attack next turn. You have to try and deal with it. If you don't, it's gonna be another couple turns before you get rid of it. So really nice there. I feel like they didn't want to go too strong with it. I do not like the health totals. Feel it's a little low, but the attack is nice on the level 3 at least. It might, if they do try to kill it, it might be able to kill something off, or at least put a dent into whatever their health amount is. But getting the minions, this is going to be a nice minion generation card. We'll definitely be able to use with other. That's really nice that it's not just Utera who gets to do great minion generation, or Aloyan with when you get a really good setup, the gizmos. Every set has. Well, Tempest didn't really have a great. Tempest was always play spells to get extra minions, but all the other sets have cards where you can get, with conditions, you can get a bunch of minions out there. Tempest was probably the weakest in that regard, so this will definitely bring them to that table, which is nice. We'll see where this goes. We're going to have Stoic Glacier next, which Stoic is going to be a Forge modifier. I'm trying to get it to scroll up to get 2 cards on here. There we go. Okay. So, and I guess I can't because I'm missing the stats there. So it's got mobility 1, 2, and 3. Its stats are 2, 7, 3, 9, and 5, 14. Again, on the lower side. However, when a creature moves lanes, deal 2 damage to the enemy player. Any creature moves, deal 2 damage to the enemy player. The level 2 has 3 damage, and level 3 has 5 damage. So that's really nice. Again, it's another way. It's trying to think of what it's like. It's like having a disintegrating Omni, and except that all your creatures could potentially move and deal that damage. This made me think of, on the campaign, the one boss that moves all your creatures over a lane. If you got him out there, that's crazy. The comp is going to kill itself, which would be great. But I like the ability. It's, like I said, low on stats, but you're making up for it by being able to do that face damage with the cards. So really, really nice aggressive type card, but also encourages you to have creatures out there that you can move around, mobility creatures. So we have the Stoic Windspeaker. It is a 4/8, 7/11, 11/16 Yeti. It is defender, but it has activate, move an enemy creature to this lane. So it's basically got a taunt built into it. That can be nice. You could move a defender to that lane if you wanted. If you're trying to keep your guy alive, but I guess then you wouldn't be able to use his ability anymore. Or you can move over smaller creatures that it can handle, obviously, early on, low-level minions. Maybe you want to sacrifice him to block something big, to eat that damage, at the higher levels. So definitely a solid card. I notice on these defenders they have more attack than typically. Normally defenders have inherently low attack, but these ones have more attack, which is a nice change. This card will be good with even if you underdrop it, because you can move. And in this deck, the way it's built, you want to move creatures. A creature moving lanes deals extra damage, but even as an underdrop, it does the same thing. It just won't be able to handle breakthrough creatures as well, obviously, with the lower health amounts. But if they got a guy dealing 20 damage, not breakthrough, the level 1 can block it just as well as the level 3. So, and getting multiple ones out there, you can really move creatures around, line up things how you want, which is kind of a nice ability. So I think all those cards were new. All the creatures. We're going to get the spells here. Excuse me. So Chain Lightning, which is already in the game. That's, if you're not familiar, play a spell sprite minion. When you give a creature plus attack this turn, deal 2 damage to enemy player. Play a spell swarm minion at level 2. When you give a creature plus attack this turn, deal 2 damage to enemy player. And level 3 is play up to 2 spell swarm minions. When you give a creature plus attack this turn, deal 2 damage to enemy player. So it's just a spell for minions. You want to pump minions, play spells, and you get to do, again, more face damage to an enemy player. This deck is a very aggressive deck. I like how it feels or seems. We'll go over Charged Burst here once it reveals more. I think I've got this slowed down so I can make sure I pause it. Charged Burst. So this is going to be like Disintegrate, but it's going to be, you have to play it one cycle behind. So as an underdrop, not loving it in that regard. It's much weaker. Red has okay removal, lots of damage it can deal out to the board, but it doesn't have great hard removal. It doesn't have the Botanimate or Dreadbolt, Neck Revive, things of that nature. So not loving that they kind of nerfed the card in a way and made it something new. Now, if they kept Disintegrate in the set and you can get both in the deck, that would be really powerful, really nice. But Charged Burst, if this is lower level than your Forgeborn, deal 8, 14, or 20 damage to an enemy creature. So, it's basically a dead card in your hand if you're drawing it on cycle. You can't use it. You don't want to level it up. Otherwise, it's useless. So, not loving that it doesn't have any utility. Like, you could, if they did half the damage, and if it's lower, then it does the double amount. Like, that one, disappointed with that. But you're gonna have some duds in every set, and maybe this turns out to be a great card because you're always playing things off cycle. We see the Lightning Spark. I think there's 2 cards left. Lightning Spark, of course, you can deal damage to a creature or player. I want to make sure I don't miss that. It's 5, 8, or 10 damage to a creature or player you're choosing. And then the last card, Pyro Puncture. So deal 5 damage to an enemy creature. If it has augmented, deal 10 damage to it instead. I do not know offhand what augmented is. Lucas may have told us what that was on his stream at some point. I do not recall. So I can't tell you what that is and what causes it to basically do double damage. You have deal at level 2, deal 8 damage to an enemy creature. If it has augmented, 16 instead. and the level 3 is 12 damage. If it has augmented, 24 damage instead. So augmented is going to be probably some sort of card ability or effect. Maybe it's an exalt type thing that every faction will probably have, so that way it's not just like only Necreum has augmented, so it's only good against that. Now I think it'll be probably every faction can have augmented, is my guess based on that. That's a lot of damage. I like this format of the card better than how they redid the Disintegrate, basically. That way you can have some use on it. You don't have a dead card in your hand. We're already restricted to 5 cards per turn, 15 out of 20 cards through each cycle, so hurts when you draw basically a dead card. You'd love to bottom 5 it to start the game. That's it's a great card to bottom 5, but obviously there's no guarantees on that. So these are the cards for set 4 that are out there. I don't know who else is going to have set 4 potential decks available. Potentially Justin Gary, if in his match maybe he'll get some set 4 decks, and we'll get some information on that, hopefully. But yeah, this came out today. I'm really excited about it. I don't want to take up too much of everyone's time. I just want to kind of cover the cards, and that's it. So yeah, thanks for viewing. I hope you enjoyed the spoilers, and I'm really looking forward to set 4. Really looking forward to see how it's going to change the meta of what it is to what it's going to become. Tempest looks, in this deck in particular, really aggressive, which I love. So it's definitely my play style in this game, I guess, is a aggressive control type style, and so I'm really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to see what the other sets have, though. Really hoping, my original faction I liked in the original SolForge was Aloyan, so we'll see if Aloyan gets anything good. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment if you like, or if you have any questions, comments, or otherwise anything. I appreciate you guys watching. Take care, and we will see you next time. This has been an episode of Rallying the Forge. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.